Well, hi everybody. I hope everybody's well. The pond's all good. The wife actually got up this morning and looked out the bedroom window, and believe it or not, stood on that manhole cover there was the biggest heron I've ever seen. It was massive. So I'm hoping I've got nothing missing, but I'm not quite sure how it would get in there with the fence there anyway. But what a good job it was there. So it actually come down in my garden. So a bit worrying. So I'm now going to have to come up with something a bit more. They're landing in the garden, I don't want that. A bit more than the fence. I know it's easy to take off, a minute to take it off and about 2 minutes to put it back, so it's quite handy. It does the job, but I don't want them landing in my yard. I want something to put the fear of God up them really, so I'm going to have to come up with something to see if I can scare it off and sound an alarm of some sort. I certainly don't want it in my pond. It did cross my mind whether it was the one that ate my babies 18 months ago. Still, perhaps I don't really want to know. I might not be quite so friendly towards it, but I don't want to hurt it, I just don't want it in my garden. So I'm going to have to do something. I'll come up with something, we'll see. The pre-pump filter Mark II is virtually done, so I should be connecting that up soon. I'm not going to bore you with all the connections like I did last time. I'm just going to connect it up, see how it goes. But Mark II is definitely nearly finished, so I'm hoping to bring you that before too long. Hoping this one works. It should do, but we'll see. It's all part of developing, I think. Well, good morning everybody. What we've got at the moment is this storm Helene, and we keep getting a bit of sun, but boy, it is windy. And this is on the Tuesday, so they're saying the Wednesday is going to be even worse, so we'll see how that goes. I've not seen the heron again. I've made sure my fence around the pond's okay. I've also put the washing line up because this is a small garden. It does restrict its flying in capacity a bit, the washing line. And it's just a matter, it's not going to stop it, but it's just doing things that's going to put it off. I obviously have my sprinkler that it's set off, and I shall be making something else. I've got something in mind I'm going to make, and we'll add that to the garden. But there's not a lot more you can do on the other side of the pond. I've grown all bushes and small conifers and that sort of thing on there to make it difficult for it to land. Keep it off that side. The flowers this side and the drop will put it off going to the pond, and obviously the net this side, so I'm hoping it's going to be enough of a deterrent. And like I say, with the wingspan a heron's got, and it is a big one, with the wingspan it's got, I'm hoping the washing line will put it off even further. It'll still come in the yard if it really wants to, but like I say, it's just doing things that put them off really. As you can see from this end, the plants are getting quite tall now. They could do with trimming down a little bit really. I've not taken the fence off because of the heron. I haven't seen it since, so whether it's give up on us or not I don't know, but we haven't seen it since. It's not done any damage at the moment. I say the pond is quite a bit of a mess. I've got all that to sort out. It's turned all the lily leaves over and all sorts of things, but they're dying back anyway now this time of year. Okay guys, let's just take a look in the shed, see what we've got in there, just to show you the new filter. Already it's just like I said before, it's a case of waiting for the paint to dry now. It says on the tin 2 to 7 days. Well, I am going to give it the 7 days, so it's well dried out before I put it all back together. Everything is made and fitted and ready to go in. It's just a matter of, like I say, waiting for this paint to dry, and I want it to dry out thoroughly, but it's all ready to go. Well, that is the new design for the pipe work in the shed. I don't know whether you remember, but it went right across the floor, up one side, across the top, and then back down, which was, I don't know what made me do that actually, it was a bit silly. But this is the new pipe work that will be taking its place, and as you can see it will come straight in here, in this side, across here, and it'll either go up to the filter or straight across to the pump, which is much simpler and a lot easier and better. The flow's not going around as many bends as it was. The filter, building it like this, will be able to go to one side instead of standing in the middle of the floor like it was. So it's much better. But that's the pipe work that I will be putting in there for this pre-pump filter. I'm afraid there's not much to report at the moment, being as we've got all these high winds and bad weather and it keeps raining, so there's not a lot I can do in the pond. We could start getting ready for winter, I suppose, but like I say, the weather's stopping us doing anything, so there's not a lot I can do as far as that goes until these winds and rains stop. We're rain free at the moment, but I'm not quite sure how long that'll last. Let's have a quick look in the filter house. Just show you quickly what's going on in here. Well, everything's good in here. I've just had my new fish food delivered, but everything's fine, everything's working well. I've got a new bulb to put in the Evo, but I think I'm going to leave that until the beginning of next season. I don't think I'm going to put that in just yet. It's down the other shed. The pond temperature, we've not done too bad at all. Let's see if I can show you that. The pond temperature is 16. We've got 16 and a half at the moment, 16 and a half degrees, and it's only sort of 14 degrees here, and it's coming cooler as well, they say. So we might lose a little bit of temperature out of the pond over the next few days, but we'll have to see how that goes. But we're holding 16 at the moment. That's the lowest it's been. It's just a matter of how much lower it gets actually. But yeah, we'll see how that goes anyway. Okay, what I'm hoping to do now is I'll give the Backy River a clean out ready for the winter, just to purge some water through it, give it a flush out. And I've got to catch all the dirt before it goes into my moving bed. I don't want all that dirt in the moving bed, so I've got to catch that as well. So we'll see what I can come up with. I've eventually at last got the top on my RDF. I've got it on, so that's a bit quieter now, but I've got all this stuff to take off the top of the river, what I've been using on the work down there. I just want to take all that off and we'll have a look and see about getting it clean out. It's about time I started one or two of these winter jobs and get caught up, because the weather has really held us back. The wind and rain has been atrocious. We've had sort of 3 windy storms on the trot, and they're calling it the windy season. Since when did we have a windy season in the UK? But there you go. But it's a beautiful day here today, the sun's shining, so I'm going to get my Backy River sorted out and get that clean out, ready for the winter. Okay, that's all the rubbish clean off the top of it. At least I can see it again now. So we'll get the lids off and have a look. I haven't even had a look in it for a while, so we'll get the lids off and have a look inside. Okay, what I've got on the end there is one of the wife's, I've cut the leg out of one of the wife's pairs of tights. Can't wait to see her face when she tries to put them on again. But I've cut the leg out of one of her sets of tights. I find this works a lot better than the too fine a bag. This will catch everything I want to catch. So I've got that in there, I've got it ready, I've got it taped to the outlet, and we'll start to purge the river now. We'll get that dirt in there stirred up a bit. Right, what I'm going to do is just give it a moving about a bit, basically, get any big lumps. Just be very careful because it does break this stuff. Just a moving about, I can actually see the dirt going through into the second one, so we're moving some anyway. So just to give it a moving about down the bottom where all the dirt will have settled. Just gently move all the media about, all the siprac. There's not a lot of dirt in this first one at all. There's nothing much coming up. 1 or 2 bits and pieces, but nothing exceptional. So I think we'll call that it for that one. We'll spread the media out again. Okay, I'll just bang another can of water through it just to make sure. If I can do it without spilling it all over the place. Probably not. The nice purge of water blasting through it. It should Should clean it up. That looks really nice in there now. We'll just move it about a bit in here. Yeah, there's a lot more dirt in this one. Don't know whether you can see it. I'll just bring you over if I can. Hope you can see what we've got in there. Just stirring it about basically. Not too rough, like I say. You can see the dirt coming up there, look. This Sycorax, and you will break it. So just don't be too rough with it. The worst one is obviously the last one. I hope you can see that in there. There's quite a bit of dirt there we've got to sort out. It all seems to have settled in the last box. That's where most of the dirt is at the moment. And that's where the leg out of my wife's kites will be doing its job. So we've got most of this one. This one looks pretty good now. So it'll all be down to the last box. This one's looking a lot better and a lot cleaner. Level it all out in there. Let it settle down a bit. Okay. Now we shall move on to the last box. I hope you can see that there. The camera doesn't really show it too well, but there's an awful lot of dirt in there. If I just give it a little stir, you'll probably see it. Can you see that? There's an awful lot of dirt in there. So this is the one that wants the big clean out. I hope you can see that. It's soon cleared by the flow. Very good. Like I say, there's a lot of dirt in this one. This is where it's all been collected. So we're hoping the wife's stocking is doing the trick. It is really coming up there as I'm moving it about. This is where it's all collected. You can see that. The other two were relatively clean. If I leave that, it'll soon clear with the flow. And hopefully the wife's stocking is getting it all. There it goes. This is, well, it's the first time I've cleaned it since I fitted it. What, a year and a half, year and 4 months ago probably. So I want to give it a good clean if we can. I think the dirt is all at one end. It's all up the end where the weir is. There doesn't seem to be any dirt getting stirred at this end much. Well, I think it was all up the other end, to be honest. Just got to be careful not to let the Sycorax go over that ledge like it is. It'll only end up in the wire stocking, if nothing much to stop it going through. But it's coming up pretty clear now, not too bad at all. From what it was anyway. Just moving it disturbs the dirt. So what we'll do is start to level that off now. Give it a couple of seconds. And it's nice and clean in there again. Job done. Now, if we look in the moving bed, the wife's stocking has got absolutely enormous. As it's blocked, it's got bigger and bigger and bigger. So what I'll do is get that out and get the dirt out. And there we go. That's the dirt that's actually come out of the backy. There was quite a bit in there out the backy river. The stocking really did the job. It caught all that. So there was quite a bit in it, but like I say, it's been over a year since it was cleansed, so expected really. I shall just see if the wife wants her stocking back when she gets home. I'll do the fair thing, but there we go. Sorted. The backy river all up and run and cleaned. And that's it. That's the river, all nice and clean again. I like how this media keeps itself clean. You don't have to clean the media, it's what they call self-cleaning. It's just the dirt that collects in the boxes. That's the first one. That's the second one, all nice and clean again. Looking good. And that's the last one. I'm sorry if the pump's buzzing a bit, I've had to put the pump on again. But that's it all up and running, and nice clean water going back in to my moving bed. Great stuff, another job done, ready for the winter. Well everybody, we've got an absolutely glorious day here today. It is a bit on the windy side, but the sun is blasting down, lovely. We're getting really cold nights though, that's the trouble, and it's dropped the temperature in the pond by 2 degrees. So we're down to 14, about 14 and a half at the moment. The sun, it's really lovely during the day. It's blasting down now. We had a cracking day yesterday. It was very nearly sunbathing weather. Not that I get to do much of that really. The worst thing at the moment is waiting for this pre-pump filter to dry. I've given it 4 days up to now. It's the temptation of starting to fit it back together. And I'm determined I'm not going to until it's had its full 7 days drying time. So I've given it the full whack, but I keep itching to get it put back together, and I've got to stop myself. I've got to give it the full 7 days and that's it. So it's a bit tormenting at the moment, because I can't do anything really till I get that done. Till I get that dried out, and then it'll be all go getting it put back together and getting the filter house repiped, which I'm really looking forward to doing. I've got great expectations for this one. As you can see there, the pre-pump filter Mark 1 is outside now. I've given up on that one. Well, to be quite honest, it really made a good pre-filter, but not a pre-pump filter. It withstood the pressure, being pressurised really well, so that will make a good pre-filter. But it's no good as a pre-pump filter because it doesn't stand the vacuum. But for a pre-filter, I was very impressed. It worked really well. If anybody's interested in making one of them, it did work really well as a pre-filter. It worked very well because it's pressurised. You see, it stood the pressure, but it won't stand the vacuum. Also, before the winter, I've got another little job there. I want to get all that boxed in before winter and get a little bit of insulation in there. It's where my pond water comes out of the ground and into the filter house. So I want to get all that boxed in this year, make sure that's all frost proof and gets no problems from the real cold. If we're going to get real cold winters, then I'm going to have to prepare for them. So I'm going to get that boxed in as soon as I can, as soon as I get this pre-filter job out of the way really. I'll get all that boxed in and make sure we're ready for winter. Anyway, I'm afraid it's brought us to that time again, where it just leaves me to say thanks for watching, do take care, and happy ponding.